1, 2, 3. Good evening and welcome. It's officially 5 o'clock. Welcome to the Danville Town Council meeting of July 7th, 2026. And a special welcome because tonight we have a different set of rules. State law has changed as of July 1st. So this meeting is both being broadcast live as it has been for several years, but we also now have a Zoom function so that we may or may not hear from people listening at home on Zoom. And we'll go over what those rules and anything that is set up here is recorded, so maybe we can silence that. Wow. Okay, so we will go over the rules. So we will call the meeting to order. Are we going to do roll call first or do our statements? Okay, so we'll ask Christine, our acting city clerk, to call the roll. And we have to do all of our votes in verbally and roll call all that verbally. So it takes just a little longer. So thank you for your patience. Christine?
Okay. Councilmember Balatz.
Here.
Councilmember Morgan.
Here.
Councilmember Stepper.
Here.
Vice Mayor Storer.
Here.
Mayor Arnerich.
Here. Great. And now I'll announce that there are no council members. We're all present. There are no council members that are meeting remotely. And with that, we will go to the announcement of the public participation, and we'll ask Christine to read that statement.
This meeting is being streamed live on the town's website via the town's YouTube channel and Zoom. Instructions for participating in this meeting remotely are available on every meeting agenda and the town website. The mayor will first invite public comments from the speakers who are attending the meeting in person, followed by speakers attending remotely. Individuals may only address the town council one time during each agenda item. If you're attending in person, you're asked to complete and submit a yellow speaker card located in the back of the room and on the podium and hand it to the city clerk at the dais. The mayor will announce your name when it's your turn to address the town council. If you're participating remotely and would like to provide public comment, connect to the meeting online via the Zoom link located on the agenda and the town's website. Use the raise hand feature to request to speak. Please wait until after the mayor has announced the agenda to raise your hand. You will be called by the name that appears on the city clerk's screen. You are asked to identify yourself by providing your first and last name when addressing the town council. All public comment is limited to 3 minutes per person for each item, and all comments must be in reference to areas within the council's purview. Mayor.
Thank you. And now at this time, it's my pleasure to call our Assistant Chief of Police, Lieutenant Rock, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you, Lieutenant. And we will actually be hearing from him a little bit later on about regarding some street smarts updates. All right, this will take us to item number 5, which is changes to the order of the agenda. Ty, do we have any changes tonight?
Mayor, no changes to the order, but I do want to note that we have a corrected resolution associated with agenda item 9.7 associated with prima facie speed limits. The corrected reso has been uploaded to the website as a supplemental, and it's available in the back of the room.
Great, thank you. And this time we'll just take a pause as we're trying to learn new ways how we're doing our meetings. I'm going to ask all of us that are sitting on the dais here to do a self-introduction so those listening at home can kind of know our voice relative, because we look really small on camera. And we'll start with Mr. Ewing.
Rob Ewing, City Attorney.
Ty Williams, good evening. I'm your town manager.
Karen Stepper, council member.
Good evening, everybody. Mark Bellotz, council member.
Newell Einrich, Mayor.
Robert Storr, Vice Mayor.
Good evening. Let's be glad we're in Danville and not in Texas right now with tornadoes. Renee Morgan, council member.
Amanda Levine, administrative assistant.
Christine Meidberg, acting city clerk.
Thank you, and welcome. As you can also, if you've been here before, it takes 2 people to run the meetings now because we have the online person. So our city attorney, who we just realized he has 2 sides to his profile. We've never seen this side because he sat there for 31 years. So a few changes. And again, this will take us now to item number 6, which is for the good of the town. And this is an opportunity for anybody in the room or online to address the council on anything that is not on tonight's agenda, and if it's something within our purview. So I will ask, I do not have any speaker cards for the good of the town. Is there anybody here who would like to address the council on anything that's not on the agenda? Seeing none in the room, I will ask Christine or Amanda, is there anybody online who has a raised hand for, and again, that I see Judy Barrente. We just want to verify that you are speaking to the council on something that is not on tonight's agenda. And if so, we will unmute you, ask you to state your name and your address, and you have up to 3 minutes. And the way you can see the 3 minutes is online. They can see that 3-minute clock that is on our podium there. And Judy, welcome.
Hi, hello, council member of Danville. My name is Judy Barrientos. I'm a president of ATU Local 1605. My address for that union is 1333 Pine Street, Suite G in Martinez, California, 94553. I'm here tonight because I need your guys' help. I need help because there is some funding at Contra Costa Transit Authority that's in reserves. I understand it to be $26 million. I would like your help in getting that for transit. Transit has had cuts since 2009 when we had the housing crisis that never came back. COVID, there was cuts and not much of that came back. We have been hurting for years and the public needs to get around to their doctor's appointments, to their schools, and so on. So I'm asking you guys to reach out. The other thing that's happened is CARB of California has took 1.5 million away from County Connection, and I'm sure that was like 2.2 billion away from transit in California. So all of us are hurting and we need the help. There's been lots of projects at 2CTA, and I like them. Honestly, the roads are better, the freeways are better, lots of things are better. But transit needs some help. They need some money given to them to help them to sustain what they have and maybe in the future increase services in the area. So what else do I have? I sent you guys each an email about this so you guys can get more information. And I know, Mayor, you're on 2CTA, so please help transit out. So that we don't have to have any layoffs or cuts to our services. I'm advocating for the passengers that are riding. I'm advocating for Tri-Delta and Westcat and County Connection. I appreciate your time and thank you very much.
Judy, thank you. I'd just like to clarify. I think you've inadvertently mixed two separate subjects. $26 million refers to if SB 63 passes. That is on the fall ballot, and that is a area-wide half-cent sales tax to bail out primarily BART and San Francisco Muni, and there would be annual funding available in Contra Costa at $26 million. That is not in an account. That has not been voted on. The second part that you're referring to, that CCTA may have reserve funds. Like all agencies, they do have reserve, and there's approximately less than $2 million that is in reserve in the totality of the set-aside funds, which is used for smoothing when the current sales tax for CCTA goes up and down as it has in the past. So I might suggest, and I didn't have time after reading your letter to clarify that, but it's two different things. So clearly, $26 million, that has to be voted on by the voters for SB 63. So Judy, thank you, and we appreciate it. And I will personally send you a note to maybe help clarify those two items. Is there anybody else? I do not see another raised hand for good of the town. Okay, then we will close the public hearing for the good of the town. And this will take us now to item number 7, which is under proclamations. And tonight we're delighted to present a proclamation to Ian Murdoch, our Recreation Superintendent, proclaiming July 2026 as Parks and Recreation Month. And Ian, if you'll join me at the podium. Thank you for being here. Okay, can we push the button for the little blind? We have electric blinds. We've waited 30 years because it's only in the summer. Even in that sunlight, you can barely read this. But I will start. It's a proclamation proclaiming Parks and Recreation Month of July 2026. Whereas Parks and Recreation promotes physical, emotional, and mental health and wellness through organized and self-directed fitness, play, and activity. Oh, look at that. Whereas Parks and Recreation creates memorable experiences through youth sports and enrichment activities, teen centers and programs, senior activity centers, adult fitness and enrichment programs, free community events, and beyond. Whereas Parks and Recreation supports human development and endless learning opportunities that foster social, intellectual, physical, and emotional growth in people of all ages and abilities. Whereas Parks and Recreations foster social cohesiveness in communities by celebrating diversity, providing spaces to come together peacefully, modeling compassion, promoting social equity, connecting social networks, and ensuring all people have access to its benefits. And whereas the town urges all of its residents to recognize that Parks and Recreations enriches the lives of its residents and visitors, as well as adds value to communities' homes and neighborhoods. Whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month. And whereas the California Park and Recreation Society has designated July as Parks Make Life Better Month. Therefore, it be resolved, the Danville Town Council does hereby proclaim July 2026 as Parks and Recreation Month in the town of Danville. In doing so, urges all citizens to use and enjoy its parks, trails, open space, facilities, and recreation opportunities. And I will just note that we also, as a town, we started this in partnership with the school district. The 3 middle schools in Danville, we all run teen centers in those. It's an after-school program. And that is run also by our Parks and Recreation. So Ian, on behalf of the entire council, I'd like to present this to you. And would you like to say a few words? Thank you.
I would. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. Each July, we join communities across California and the nation in recognizing Parks Make Life Better Month and National Park and Recreation Month. This year's national theme, The Power of, celebrates the transformative power of play, nature, and shared community space to inspire, connect, and strengthen us all. In Danville, that power is evident every day. Our parks, trails, recreation programs, and community events create opportunities for people of all ages to be active, build relationships, experience the arts, volunteer, and enjoy the outdoors. There are places where children gain confidence on the playground, neighbors become friends at community events, families make traditions, and residents find moments to recharge and connect with nature. The quality of life we enjoy in Danville is enhanced by the thoughtful stewardship of these spaces and the dedicated staff, volunteers, commissioners, and community partners who help bring them to life. As we celebrate Parks Make Life Better Month and National Park and Recreation Month, we recognize the lasting impacts and recreation have on the health, well-being, vitality of our community, and we remain committed to ensure these places continue to serve and inspire future generations. Thank you.
Ian, thank you. And if you wouldn't mind, would you please join us? We'd like to take a photograph. At the same, I just want to recognize an outgoing Parks Commissioner. Is Kevin Donovan is still here. We owe this man a gratitude. He's been involved for decades in helping build parks and make lives better. Let's give Kevin a hand and say thank you. Ian, please pass on to everybody in your department how much we all appreciate if you want to see some excitement, go to one of our parks, particularly Oak Hill Park, here during the summer till about the first week of August. You'll see the programs that are running there, the kids in the kids camps. It's just exciting, and it gets bigger every year. And we also employ a lot of young high school students, and they go through tough interviews. We give them recommendations once they graduate college and things like that for future jobs. So, and we pay them pretty well. So really exciting. And now also another exciting presentation, and tonight from a former Danville mayor and a current Contra Costa County Supervisor, Candace Anderson, is here tonight to present the Iron Horse Regional Trail Dual Tracking Pilot Project. Candace, welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you, Diane. It's always so much fun to walk back into where I got started here in Danville, and I love the screen. This is a huge improvement. I remember sitting up there blocking my eyes. So I wanted to talk to you tonight. And for first, I'm going to introduce to you my sidekick here. This is Carl Rohner, who many of you may know. He is with our Public Works Department, one of our engineers, and he really has been tasked with moving this project forward. And it's something where Carl is a cyclist himself. He enthusiastically accepted this, and he also oversees Iron Horse Trail Committee that oversees the management of the whole corridor as well. So we're going to talk about the dual tracking, or in the alternative, I call it the bicycle expressway. So and I'm hoping the clicker will turn on. There we go. And I'm hoping the clicker will work when I click it. Is there a special? I turned it on. Well, someone did that. I don't know if that was someone over there that did it, but I always love to start out a little bit with the history of the trail, because not everyone knows how we ended up here. And I think everyone knows Iron Horse Trail, it used to be the railroad, but in fact, the Southern Pacific ran down where we now have the Iron Horse Trail from 1891 to 1978. And then in 1982, Contra Costa County purchased the track right-of-way, and we used 3 different grants totaling about $10.6 million. Now, these were grants that weren't just, here's the money, but they were tied to transit. And the goal was that someday we would be running a busway, we would be running a light rail down the Iron Horse Trail. And in fact, there was language in at least one of the grants that said if Contra Costa does not identify by June 30th, 1989, a specific project for constructing a busway or exclusive mass transit guideway that uses the San Ramon Branch corridor, the county shall reimburse the state. Well, they never came back to the county and said, give us our money, you haven't done it. We studied it numerous times, but they did require that the county maintain this 34-foot wide swath right down the middle so that magically someday we could plop down the busway and move forward. And as I mentioned, several studies were done creating transit. It was going to be super expensive, and there was little support from elected officials or the community. Some of you heard me say how my first real discussion about should it be transit or utilized as we have been was with Millie Greenberg, one of the original town council members. And shortly after she became county supervisor, she was appointed by Gray Davis, and I was appointed to be on the town council. We went to lunch, and I was talking to her about how I understood that the Iron Horse Trail was someday going to be a mass transit. And she just looked at me and said, over my dead body. And so that was kind of my first introduction. Oh, not everyone wants to see mass transit here. So we did. In fact, it evolved as a transportation corridor. Beverly Lane, who was on the council later in East Bay Regional Park, trustee as well, groups of people got together and really sort of renamed it the Iron Horse Regional Trail. And East Bay Regional Parks agreed to manage it once it got paved. And so they still continue to manage it as well. When I was on the town council, great ideas. I always say it was the Lisa Bobadilla, Ty Williams show, had all these ideas for doing overpasses. And it was the Bollinger Canyon overpass, it was the Crow Canyon overpass and the San Ramon overpass to really enhance the use of the trail. But again, we were limited by, you got to maintain that 34-foot swath. And then going into state legislation, 2008, SB 375 was passed, where we were all supposed to be reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. We were all supposed to be looking at things like active transportation. And so when I became a county supervisor, which was back in 2012, but starting about 2014, I was saying to our then Public Works Director, Julie Buren, I'd say, we need to do something. We need to get the state to acknowledge this is an amazing active transportation corridor. People are using the trail to get to and from work, to and from school. We're taking cars off the road. If we got out from under this requirement that we maintain it for light rail, for a busway, we could do a lot with it. And so I would go up to Sacramento. We would talk to state officials over the California Transportation Commission, and they'd say, yeah, it's great. We agree with you. It should be, but we can't just authorize that. You are going to need some legislation. And so at that point, then Assembly Member Tim Grayson, now our state senator, he got passed in 2017 AB 1025, which removed the requirement that we build a bus track or mass transit, relinquished the right of reimbursement from the state for the county. And it wasn't just 10 million, it would have been in today's dollars. And so it did, though, require us to revise the bylaws of our Iron Horse Corridor Management Program Advisory Committee, which is the long title for what Carl actually is our staff member too, add a seat for our Contra Costa Transportation Authority representative, and also consider proposals for new emerging technology and modes. And so the timing of this bill then allowed City of San Ramon to move forward with their bridge without having to design it to have a bus or a train or something go over it. And it was a real win-win for the county. In order for me to keep moving forward with my bicycle expressway theme, we needed to really study the constraints on the corridor. So in 2020, perfect time as the pandemic was hitting, we did complete the Iron Horse Regional Trail Active Transportation Corridor Study. And this involved a lot of community involvement. People stopped on the trail to answer questions, going before different councils. There's a corridor needs assessment, how we would create a bicycle superhighway, a look at all of the intersection, arterial roads, collectors, local crossings, some constraints and barriers, and then, as I mentioned, community identified needs, access to the trail, city projects, and really, we also evaluated this potential of shared autonomous vehicles per the legislation from Senator Grayson. And so Danville had some projects. And so in that, I talked about Main Street District provides a unique destination along the study area. It has segment 11, which was the corridor between Del Amigo and downtown Danville. Segment 12, Danville going to other, when they say Main Street in this report, I really think they mean Hearts. And I don't know why they called it Main Street, but they called it in the report. And segment 3 was a large unconstrained corridor. So it was studied for Danville. More details about this. Anyone who wants to see this whole study, it is available on the county's website. And these are, just the San Ramon Valley through Fostoria Way as well. Danville, there also would be some interesting opportunities to expand the Sycamore Park and Ride area in the downtown, create a mobility hub, perhaps mobility hub, where you do have different types of transportation coming together, perhaps adding a bike share program, lots of things that you could do as we move forward with this dual tracking. So October of 2024, we are out of the pandemic. I didn't want to have this project sitting forever. And so I was able to allocate about $500,000 of park impact fees that we had in unincorporated parts of San Ramon to design the first segment of the dual tracking. And this right now, which is under design, about 65% complete, goes from Bollinger Canyon Road, where the new bridge has been completed, to Crow Canyon Road in San Ramon. And so this is sort of an AI rendition of what it might look like to have dual tracking, where you would have the pedestrian side being the original trail. You would have a new trail that would have bicycles able to go in both directions. You would have a buffer in between the two. And so, as I mentioned, Bollinger Canyon Bridge was dedicated. You can see Newell was at that dedication as well. This was a big moment. And right now, the design of the Crow Canyon Bridge is just getting started. And that's one of the other reasons we're looking at having this end at that point, and then we will be looking forward. So why do we really need trail separation? And it almost goes without saying. I'll start with the bottom one because I know you on the town council have been addressing e-bikes and the impact on the community. And when I go speak at a public meeting, in fact, I'll even do it here, how many of you have been on the Iron Horse Trail almost run over by kids on an e-bike? Okay, almost everybody in here has their hands raised. It's frustrating, it's challenging, and yes, there's some really good state laws that should regulate it more for youth. But the reality is that we do have people who have the ability to utilize e-bikes as an alternative mode of transportation, the last mile that could connect someone to a BART station, to Pleasant Hill Contra Costa centers, the Dublin Pleasanton BART centers. Walnut Creek would require a little bit more of a circuitous route, get there as well, but it's an alternative to being in a car. We always have had the conflict on the trail of wheeled and pedestrian modes. And that's just the reality. Even currently today, someone on a bicycle might see three people walking abreast, and you'll hear that ding, ding, ding on your left, ding, ding, ding on your left. It's frustrating for the people walking. It's frustrating for the people on the bikes. And there are at least 9 public schools located on either or near the Iron Horse Trail in the San Ramon Valley. And every school day, we do have children utilizing it. And so if we could increase that usage, it would be very beneficial to all of us. So pilot project description, as I mentioned, was 65% complete. And I really have Carl here. He's going to answer any technical questions you have. But this sort of, again, gives you that perspective. Existing trails to preserve as the walking path, have a little bit of a shoulder. You have a vegetated area, shoulder, the new bike trail. And this case, you're seeing a bit of a swale as well going forward. This is just a rendition, an AI rendition of what it might look like as you're going on and off the Bollinger Canyon Bridge. Originally, we had an alternative design of doing a little bit of a roundabout, but that was quickly nixed by cyclists and others who said that's not going to work. And so this is a little bit more of an easy one to work with. We're excited to see that going forward. Again, just another rendition as you enter and exit the bridge. Typical trail transition, because until we get it all the way up and down the Iron Horse Trail from Martinez down to the Dublin border, we will have opportunities where you'll be coming on and off and transitioning. And then amenities along the trail. And this is something that's going to be up to cities. We're not designing this original pilot project with a lot of amenities, with a lot of trees, landscaping, all of the rest. That's not part of the package. We're just trying to get it built. And reality is each city has their own priorities. Right here, you're of course seeing a depiction in Bishop Ranch. I'm not sure that building in the back is still even there. It may be turning into housing. But the reality is San Ramon has been collecting close to $2 million in developer impact fees that they plan to use, not just for umbrellas or seating areas, although this is an existing site right there, but also connection to neighborhoods. And that's something as Sunset Development continues to release land for building of houses, that's going to be very important to have that there as well. Want to encourage more things like Hemi Station Park, and hopefully people in the audience, the town council, you've experienced the fun of Hemi Station Park. This was something that the Alamo Municipal Advisory Council enthusiastically supported us moving forward with in 2017. This park, we have a bike repair area. Of course, we have the restrooms, picnic gazebo, play areas, benches, informational panels showing the history of this site. And this was a really fun project that I got to be involved in because after the fire district owned the property, after they sold it to the county, on a summer evening, much like tonight, the MAC and I just sort of walked through some walnut trees and said, what do we need? What's going to make along the trail? What's a family going to want? What are their needs? And I thought back to my time when I had my 6 children and we would be on our family bike rides. Yeah, we needed restrooms. Yes, we needed to have a fun place to have a picnic. We needed a great place for kids to play, a safe place. And so I see there's some wonderful opportunities as we move forward. So tell us about pipelines and utilities. I'm going to let Carl talk about that.
We got a lot of them. The corridor is probably one of our most important utility transit corridors in the entire county. We have Central Sand, we have East Bay Mud, we have various cable lines, and we have Kinder Morgan. So it is where much of the business, both coming and going, goes through the county.
It does. And so fortunately for this initial pilot project going from Bollinger to Crow Canyon, we do not have to worry about the Kinder Morgan line as far enough. Kinder Morgan line is primarily jet fuel, which is why we talk about it with such reverence and concern. You don't want to be hammering into that anytime soon. And we're hopeful that as we go down the trail, just as we do on our roadways, there may be some Central Sand, East Bay Mud. You can pave over a line, and if they need to get to it, they can get an encroachment permit and go forward. But the goal is, particularly in this initial phase, is to not have to deal with that. The other great thing, which was a big concern when we started, was our clean water requirements, C3 permits that so often you need when you create impervious surfaces. This current design does not require C3 permits. And so even though you're seeing that landscaping in between, that is not a mitigation to meet C3 requirements. It's just the fact that we don't need to have that. And then with regard to East Bay Regional Park District, we've been bringing them into the discussions from day one to get their input on the design, because the goal really is to have them maintain this new bicycle expressway. There will, of course, be some expense to them in doing it, and we'll have to determine how expensive it is to maintain that parallel track, but they're very enthusiastic. And I know they talked about if they should go out for a future bond measure, how this would be something they would love to support moving forward. And I don't know if you want to talk at all about the C3 or East Bay Regional Park, Carl.
Actually, what I do want to talk to you about is I have a bit of a surprise. So, right.
It's always fun to surprise the elected official when he's making a presentation.
This is a good one. So we have right now the One Bay Area government grants going out, and there's a consolidated call for projects.
Yes.
And so I had a discussion with the CCTA staff last week about this project, which, oh yes, we should certainly fund that. And then I asked, well, could you fund the next phase of design? Can we bundle that all together? And the answer was, why, yes. And so that next phase would be from Crow Canyon Road to Sycamore Valley Road, mostly through Danville. And so we're looking to fund the design for that. Now, that's not enough to build it, obviously.
Well, and also, just to be clear, that it's eligible to be included in the submission of those grant requests, which MTC actually approves. CCTA has to recommend those. So
that's correct. Yes. Yeah. It's a complicated process in the grant.
It is. And we, as the county, we have 4 projects we can submit. Cities get to submit 2 projects. And we do have both our Department of Conservation Development and Public Works working on what those 4 projects will be. But this definitely will be one. And maybe we can ask for the cost to have it built too, just anticipatory. But anyway, we'll discuss that. So thank you for sharing that, because that is going to be very important. Trail future segments, it's design safety at each intersection. I've got here what you have done at El Capitan is a really good example of how you can make an intersection safer. Even if we have a bicycle expressway, you are necessarily going to have bicyclists who will have to stop, follow the rules of the road, but we do want to make it as safe as possible for every separate intersection. And that was part of the study from 2020, is to really look at each intersection along the way and figure out what are those constraints. And we have some constraints as we're designing through San Ramon on Norris Canyon, figuring out how to do that best. And Carl's working on that with our consultant who's making that work.
Right. And in San Ramon, we've got 18 intersections in that 1.3 mile stretch where we're going off to either public or private entities. And so we're increasing public access to the trail from the adjacent properties. And that's really, really important, I think, to the success of it.
It absolutely is, and that's making sure it's a safe access. And that's, I think, where San Ramon's at a really interesting phase to contribute to that, because they're building new housing where you're not driving through somebody's property or separate house. You can build a special driveway, so to speak, to get someone to the trail, a new trail connection. And so next one, as Carl mentioned, next segment would be Crow Canyon to Sycamore Valley Road is what we're planning on. Future opportunity, I've had very informal discussions with people in Alameda County. Wouldn't it be great if through Dublin, we could also get them to do a bifurcated trail? They have that new beautiful bridge in downtown Dublin to take you right to the Dublin BART station. And when you have job centers in San Ramon, Danville as well, getting people to BART who are commuting even further, I think that would be terrific. So funding, right now, we do have an ask from Congressman DeSaulnier for one of his, what we used to call earmarks, congressionally directed spending request of $1.5 million. Then the grant funding, Carl mentioned OBAG we're looking at. There's a California State Parks Recreational Trails Program grant, some other CCTA administered grant funding, and priority conservation areas from ABAG as well, waiting for that grant to come forward. And right now we're thinking probably $2 to $3 million to build this.
This first phase.
For this first phase. And we're looking forward to getting it built. My goal, I would love to see it built next year. We're hopeful to have these plans done by the end of the year. And then we've got to, of course, go out for an RFP and ensure that we have the funding in place. But I would love to see it done in 2027 because there's a lot going on the following year. And I want to demonstrate the value of this bicycle expressway for the community. And future phases will continue to look for earmarks, the direct spending requests, grant funding. If the Contra Costa Transportation Authority does go out to renew their Measure J funding, we would hope that this would be included in the transportation expenditure plan. And as I mentioned earlier, if East Bay Regional Park District moves forward with some additional bond measures, perhaps this would be included there as well. So time for questions. Any questions, comments?
Great. Candace, thank you. I just want to note with a little more detail. Carl Roner is the staff from Public Works who also heads up and is the staff member that oversees the Iron Horse Trail Corridor Management Program, which includes representatives from Danville, San Ramon, and other along the trail. And it's been a great pleasure to be able to serve on that, and plus one of our local residents. Just so the public knows, this is information only. We don't make decisions on this. This is an update, but we're more than glad to ask questions. Karen?
Yes, I'll be brief question because we have a lot of other issues tonight. You've done a great job, and I want to ask you one question. Thank you for coming also. Because I don't know where we are in terms of what kind of vehicles are going to use this as we see more and more kinds of vehicles coming on our roads. And one of them, when I remember when I went to Amsterdam, that I could take my, wasn't with me, my Vespa, which is a motorcycle on the trail with the bikes, and then the walkers and everyone else took the other one. But I'm not saying what we're going, but have you looked at a lot of other areas and what all the kind of vehicles are?
So currently East Bay Parks regulates what's on the trail. And it's supposed to be either bicycles, e-bikes under a certain size, or pedestrians. And at this point, we don't plan on changing. Now, this question kind of came up earlier in the sense of, well, we're supposed to be dealing with new modes on the trail. And the answer was, we already are. E-bikes are a new mode on the trail. And it's one that's had a significant impact on all trail users. And part of building the double track system is to help accommodate this new mode. So at this point, we do not have any plans for pods or any autonomous.
No. And that was something, one of the reasons we actually included that language is at the time that I was up lobbying in Sacramento, and we had Senator Grayson carrying his legislation, and Glideways was just starting to launch their project. And I met with them when they were still, I always say when they were still known as Wayfarer. Glideways is an autonomous pod that can travel in something about the width of a bicycle lane. And it can take you from, you push the button for what station you want to go to, and it takes you and up to 4 other people in this pod. So no, we're not planning that right now. And as we studied it though, I wanted it studied as part of the 2020 study because it's an intriguing concept, especially as you're trying to get people to BART. And where between Dublin and Walnut Creek, we do not have a BART station. Would that work someday? And who knows with the technology down the road, but that is not part of the project. When we presented this trail study to Alamo, I was accused of wanting to run double-decker buses outside people's homes along the Iron Horse Trail. That's not part of the plan. So anyway, great question. That right now we envision the bicycle expressway really being that bicycles, e-bikes that right now East Bay Regional Park District does allow on the trail.
No, thank you very much for having an open mind for what's going to be presented,
Absolutely.
because all these things are going to come to you. And we're glad that you came to see us early. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. I was just going to add one thing, and it was a request that came from the management committee. Where feasible, even in this first phase, the idea was to keep the bicycles and pedestrians separated, even when it comes to a road crossing, as opposed to, because it's the conflict when you bring them back together. I think it's all but one intersection that's feasible to do, so that the crossing has in the streets wider. There's a separate crossing for bikes and a separate crossing for pedestrians. That won't be possible probably for the full 26 miles over time, but it's a good idea to do that. And comment, question?
Yeah, no, this is so exciting. We've been following this for years, and to see it now at, what is it, 70% almost completed and designed, it's exciting. You know, not all the trails 100-foot wide. Most of it will certainly accommodate everything we're doing. At some point, you're going to have to look at, like behind Lenardi's, where it narrows out a little bit. I'm assuming we just do the same thing and just a mini version of the separation.
Well, I want to say we cross that bridge when we get there, but yes, you do have that very constrained spot. And similarly in Alamo, I've got literal bridges that will have to be crossed over creeks, other things. And so to the extent that you can keep that separation of bicycles with pedestrians, even if the bicycles get a little more compressed, I think that would definitely be the goal, just because you don't want that a lot of merging in and out, as Newell was pointing out, when you're at intersections as well.
Yeah, you know, it's funny, when we moved to Danville, it was the Thorn Kingdom, because in '88, there was nothing there but just rocks and
weeds. It was a mess. Yes.
And now we're talking about 2027 and actually building something. That's exciting.
It's exciting.
And it is also on the list to fund the entire 26 miles of the trail in both the southern area of Contra Costa Transportation Authority, as there be just a tiny bit more money available, is to, if the public supports that, is to add all of those improvements in that.
Absolutely.
So it would be great. Renee?
Well, first of all, I want to thank both of you for being here. I think it's so important for all of us to know, because a lot of people get confused and believe that we are in charge of the Iron Horse Trail that goes through Danville. So it's great that you're here today to let everybody, it's us that then we have to turn it over to you. But it is county, it is, the East Bay Parks. But I wanted to say, when you do the design work through the town of Danville, you're talking about from Crow Canyon, Sycamore and all that, is that done through only through you, Candace? Are you the only one on that committee, or who else do you have that might represent Danville that can have some type of input onto the options?
I think realistically, we'll be hiring another consultant to design it, but absolutely talking to the town, getting your input is critical. And as we've worked in San Ramon, we've had that partnership. Do you want to comment on that?
Yeah, we've already presented to San Ramon last week. And also we have the advisory committee where representatives from each of the towns and cities in the county or along the Iron Horse corridor are able to look at the plans, make comments, and provide feedback to me as the kind of the design pivot point.
And I think it would be very easy for us, when we have our consultant come up with the very first rough design that's ready for prime time to show people, to have the town look at it. And you've got a very well-versed town manager who understands transportation and design and engineering.
Absolutely.
And I think it'd be really helpful to have that input at each major phase, just so that we don't go down a path, again, no pun intended, there are a lot with this project, that wouldn't be acceptable to the town. And it's also we need to know, and I would even suggest that perhaps when our consultant is hired, ready to go, that there be a scoping session a little bit with the town, and so that we can really talk about what are your plans for the Sycamore Park and Ride? What are your plans for the intersection of Harts and San Ramon Valley Boulevard, where you've already got the bicycle signalization? What about when you get to downtown, further along Railroad, where you want to have more of an area to get people off the trail into the downtown? Making sure the consultant understands what those needs are, I think is going to be critical to make it a very positive trail that's going to really benefit the town on many levels, not just from a transportation, but from an economic development, getting people to and from events.
And you know, from my perspective as well, we've looked at the Sycamore overcrossing area there where they wanted to do an overcrossing, and you know, we had a lot of pushback from residents because the bridge that's in San Ramon is in a commercial area. It was. I mean, I don't know now if it will still be, but it was in a commercial area, so therefore it wasn't affecting people. People weren't able to look down at other people's backyards. It was a big controversy of all those things. So I'm happy to hear that there might be some type of outreach, or that we can maybe partner together and have that partnership. I would really appreciate it. So thank you both for being here. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank
I
you.
would just, Candace, thank you. I would just make a final comment. One, that our staff, Soren, who's head of our transportation, they review the plans. Nazi Shakurin, who's a resident who is on the committee. Well, I represent CCTA in Danville. So there's been robust, even though the project is in San Ramon, we've all had that opportunity. And as well as Pleasant Hill, Concord, Walnut Creek, thank you, all have had those comments, as well as Candace Anderson is on that committee as well. So thank you very much. We really appreciate this. And Candace, thanks for your leadership. If it wasn't for the funding that you found to get it started, we wouldn't be here today.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
My
Great.
pleasure. Thank you.
All right, this is unusual. This is information only. We don't usually take public comment on this, but Pratima, let me do this first. Pratima, you put a speaker request. Please note, this is information only. We are not here to take action. I'll make an exception and let you make some comments. So if you'd please come up, you have up to 3 minutes, and please state your name and address.
Well, thank you, council member and mayor. I just had a question on the, what specific performance measures will the town use to determine whether the pilot project is successful? That was a simple question I had, but I guess you answered it before, that it's not open for discussion here right now. So I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Now that I opened this Pandora's box, anybody else on this item want to make a public comment, knowing that we don't have, this isn't under our jurisdiction, this is information only. Seeing none, I will close this item. And now this will take us to the consent calendar, which tonight is along street smarts, yes. But you're right, let's go back to one thing. Candace, did you want to take a photograph? Yes. All right, let's do a photograph. And Carl, if you would please join us.
This way.
And now we will actually go to item number 8.2. And this is something dear to all of our hearts. This is about Street Smarts, an organization that was started due to sort of an outgrowth of a tragedy and how it pivoted to help educate our children, make them as safe as we can, and being a strong partner with our school district, both in Alamo, Danville, Diablo, Blackhawk, and San Ramon. And tonight, Dolores Pita, who is our Contra Costa Street Smarts coordinator, is here with her team and a couple of others to do a presentation. And it does have a little bit to do with e-bikes. So welcome, Dolores.
Good evening, Mayor Arnrich and City Council members. Thank you for having me. I am not Dolores Pita. As
You
can
are
see.
Chris Weeks. I'm sorry,
Yes.
but I know her. No, I'm kidding. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. I'm here to just introduce our staff working on Street Smarts. Thank you for inviting us to come and present what's going on with Street Smarts. My name is Chris Weeks. I'm the Transportation Division Manager for the City of San Ramon, and was happy to see double tracking talked about and excited to be the laboratory for that to be developed in the coming years. So looking forward to that. I'm going to be talking a little bit about Street Smarts, item 8.2, and I wanted to introduce Dolores Pita, who you guys already know. A lot of you guys have worked with her in the past, and Patrick Urbanis, who's been our kind of MC at the assemblies, and many of you have had a chance to hear the assemblies and watch the assemblies, so thank you. Tonight, we're going to kind of give you a little introduction, although all you guys don't need it. There's some new council members who probably don't need it either, but it's always good to get a refresher and you might learn something tonight.
I didn't do a proper introduction of Chris. Chris Weeks is with the City of San Ramon as well, and he is the Director of Transportation and has a variety of folks. He also sits on the Iron Horse Trail Committee as well.
And we're lucky enough to be the home of Street Smarts right now, but in the long ago, Street Smarts emerged from the
It
DNA of
bounced back
Danville.
and forth. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're connected, and you guys played a part in making what it is today. So thank you. Can you move? Oh, I guess I do this. There we go. So there's the introduction. If you want to call us, my phone number's right there. Dolores is right there. Patrick's right there. Let me see. Still no moving. Okay, there we go. Okay. Sorry, it's the first time I've been here, so novice here in Danville, so thank you for inviting us. Street Smarts program is a collaborative partnership, and that's something that we take very seriously. We try to represent every city and town on this corridor when we do our education programs. It's a partnership dedicated to improving traffic safety through education and community engagement. And the program is primarily federally funded right now through the One Bay Area Grant Cycle 3 program. And in the past, it was funded by OBAG 2. So it's something that's continued on since it was started. There's also funding that comes from our partners, and partners are just kind of are everything from the San Ramon Valley PTAs to the Contra Costa Transportation Authority, the Fire Protection District, the Unified School District, and of course, the town of Danville. So we fund things that can be funded through the federal government, through the OBAG 3 funding, and things that can't be funded through the federal funding, you guys help us pay for. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Dolores, and she's going to talk a little bit more about the foundation of the program and a little bit of the history, and then we'll all stay up here and be ready to answer any questions you might have about the program. But tonight, we're going to be talking about the presentations we do to kids. This is not the presentation that goes to the children. So just I want to make that clear. This is targeted towards administrators and the public that might be interested in what we're doing. Dolores?
Great, thank you. Good evening. So as you can see, we are a collaboration, as we mentioned, and in this room, we have several of our current advisory committee members, like Supervisor Candace Anderson, who is actually our only remaining original member since day one of almost 22 years ago. So we thank Candace for her time. And then Ty was on the original committee as well. But you're welcome anytime. So, and then several people on the council and several of you have been on our committee throughout the year. So this is our current advisory committee at this time, but we're very, very fortunate to have this strength of support in our community through all our agencies. I don't think there's another agency or organization that we can, that we have this pride in this program, that we can have this support from all in the community, from Danville, San Ramon, and Alamo. Okay, which button? Okay. Now I'm going to introduce Patrick, and he's going to talk about our programs from elementary school up through middle school, since he is actually the one that is the provider of the coordinator at the assembly. So Patrick.
Good evening, everybody. So Street Smarts, we present at all 22 elementaries within San Ramon Unified School District, and that includes all schools within Danville, Alamo, and San Ramon. So for our elementary school program, we break it up into two kind of distinct areas. So we have transitional kindergarten up to second grade. That it has a focus on crosswalk safety, wearing bright colors, making eye contact with drivers, being safe in school, public parking lots, proper helmet fitting. And then we also we break it up to our third through fifth graders. So similar to our TK through second grade, we have an additional trail etiquette, e-bike, e-scooter, and e-moto information provided. And in the 25-26 school year, that was presented to over 12,000 students and teachers for the elementary school level. So similarly to elementary school, there is a focus at our middle school program on e-bikes, e-scooters, and we also have an addition of PD from either San Ramon, Danville, or the County Sheriff's Department. Our program includes a video of Chief Shields and Principal Osborne of Diablo Vista regarding e-bikes, former Chief Shields from Danville. And we can walk, oops, sorry, it's a little slow. So I'll kind of walk through. So these are some of the slides that we do present that we wanted to show. So we adopted this slide here. This is an e-bike, e-scooter safety information graphic that we do present to all the schools, grade levels from third through fifth up to middle school. So this is a good slide that we use to show kind of the regulations for bicycle, class 1 e-bikes, class 2 e-bikes, class 3 e-bikes, and the power scooters. And I just wanted to make a note that during our presentation, a lot of the e-bike conversation is presented from the police officer in their perspective. So this is a new slide that we have added to our current format. So there is a bit of confusion, I think, on e-bikes and e-motos. There is a clear and distinct difference. So a class 1, class 2, and class 3. Class 1, class 2, it's going to go up to 20 miles an hour. A class 3 e-bike will go up to 28 miles an hour. And then an e-moto is a completely different category. It's rated as off highway, so you cannot take it throughout the streets. And these are a lot of the issues that we're seeing here with the Talarias and the Surons, a little bit more popular. In addition, this is an in-summary slide to our middle school program. This is really emphasizing kind of the age restrictions of the group that we are talking to at middle school level. So anyone under 16 years of age, clarify that you cannot have a class 3 e-bike. There is sort of the restriction, 15 and a half years old, you have to have a driver's permit to have an e-scooter, and e-motos are not permitted anywhere on the road. They are off-highway vehicles. In addition, another slide that we have added, and again, this is presented from PD, the Town of Danville ordinance regarding e-bikes in the business district. So that is a new addition slide that we have added for our middle school. All right, thank you.
And also our third program that we offer is the CHP Start Smart program. And this program was initiated by a prior superintendent from the school district that required every student and one parent to attend a CHP Start Smart class at one of the 4 schools. We offer this class twice a year, and it's conducted and led by the CHP Start Smart officer from CHP. It's very effective. We have a great turnout. We are very fortunate to have the volunteers from Danville PD, from your VIP program, as well as CHP and City of San Ramon volunteers. So the response has been very positive, And in addition, since the children have to take this class, high school students 15 and up have to take this in order to apply for a parking permit, we have had a positive impact in the community with it. Good reminders for parents as well, so. Oops. The Video Awards contest and ceremony, we had our 21st year this year. So we appreciate the opportunity to hold this event in the town of Danville at the Village Theater next door. And we we really enjoy having the participation of your current mayor present at our award ceremony. And the kids get very excited. Students present a 60-second to 90-second PSA about a certain safety theme. Those are voted at our video, at our advisory committee meeting. And then they are surprised with the awards presented by our elected officials on a designated evening, usually in March. In addition, every year, we are excited to partake in every single summer outreach in Danville, Alamo, and San Ramon. I was just at your park on Friday, actually. And so we spread the message of being safe by riding your bike, scooter, or skateboard. And so we try to promote what we encourage at the assemblies throughout the school year. And it's wonderful because the children recognize our logo from the school assemblies that we continue to offer every year. Now I'm going to have Patrick discuss a brand new program we're looking to launch in the fall of this year. Patrick?
So Walk and Roll is a program that we have adopted from our Diablo counterparts in the Walnut Creek area. And it's been a really successful program to encourage kids to walk and bike to school, trying to eliminate traffic around the school areas, reduction of CO2 emissions. It's been a really big success, and we have identified a handful of schools and are looking to roll out in September of 2026.
Sorry, changing places back and forth, but I wanted him to specialize on what he delivers and likewise. And lastly, just to give you an idea, an overall summary of what we're planning to offer again this next 26-27 school year. We are fortunate to be able to present assemblies at all 22 elementary and 8 middle schools in the district. This is our 3rd year in a row that the schools, we post the sign-up list, and we usually have them filled within 2 days. So we're very fortunate that the school district has been a great support to encourage this education at their schools. We have the CHP Start Smart at least twice a year at 4 high schools. We have 2 planned already for August that will be launching through the San Ramon Valley website. That was just confirmed today. We have the Community Bike Festival, which will be held on September 12th at Ironhorn Middle School Blacktop, where we promote bike safety for kids for ages 3 to 12. Everyone's invited. We've been promoting it at all the events. And we encourage everyone to come, and parents as well, that they can learn also proper helmet fitting for the whole family. So it's not just for younger children. Danville PD's been there every year, CHP, county officers, San Ramon PD, the fire department. We have a very good support system. So we encourage everyone to participate. Our video contest, that'll be launching in another couple months. We're just gonna vote on a theme in our next advisory committee in August. And that's usually held for about October through February. And then we'll hold the award ceremony shortly after. And then, as Patrick just mentioned, the Walk and Roll program, we're anticipated to launch in September of 26. That's okay. Oh, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, so thank you for your support, and we want to open all our agencies where, again, we're very thankful to have wonderful sponsors and partners in our program. So any questions?
Dolores, I just want to say a huge thank you. This program has been running for over 2 decades. And the pivot towards the e-bike education program has been extraordinary. And I had the fortune to go to about 8 of those assemblies. And it's interesting, the elementary school kids are awestruck by the fact that the police department's there, you're presenting there, the information, and most of them really don't know much about anything when it comes to e-bikes or e-scooters. Middle school, they are really listening, but what's interesting, it's devastating to the young women in middle school because they are the primary rider, which is illegal for them to even be riding them, of e-scooters. Mostly girls ride those. And you have to be 15 and a half, have a driver's license, all of that. So it's interesting that the education is helping to focus, but we couldn't do this without the partnership of our school district and all of us here, Candace Anderson's office, Danville, San Ramon, and our police departments in working together to get this education, absent the fact the state is bailing on all of the proposed legislation on e-bikes. We're stuck on the information side on our own, but it's extraordinary. We're one of the few districts that we were immersed in every single school doing this. So just a huge thank you. And the value of this is something that we're going to continue, and it's not going to be 1 year. It's going to take several years to educate each new class as they come forward. So any comments, questions? Renee?
First of all, I want to thank all of you for being here. It's always an honor to sit there and listen to the wonderful feedback that we get from the Street Smarts program. You know, as a parent, I can say that it's been impactful to my children, but also as an elected official, I can tell you that it's wonderful to have this education in our community and to be able to pivot as you have to understand the ever evolving bicycle challenges that we have and scooter challenges and e-moto and all of that. I commend all 3 of you. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thank you to the other different, continued supporters that have been there as well. I can tell you that one thing that I do miss is when the elementary kids drew the pictures and you guys put the books together and had a signing party for them afterwards. That brought so many of those kids in, and but I understand things change, but it was definitely something that the kids looked into and looked up, wanted to be a part of it, as well as the videos. The video contests are still great. So thank you for all you do. And Dolores, you've been doing this for so long that it's just second nature for you, and for you to be able to do this. You're great at what you do, and I really appreciate you as well. Thank you, Renee.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay, so after ditto, I'll say what I love to have those books again of some sort. I don't know, it'll be on e-bikes and whatever it should be.
Yeah, that's true.
But we always give these out at the farmer's market, and we get asked by the kids for them, and they come back and they take them at all ages. So they're reading them when they are too young to read. So thank you for all you've done for all these years. Those people never get rid of those books, by the way.
No, they're great. And we just came across some old ones that someone found in a storage closet. So it would have to be up for discussion. Our author retired.
Yeah,
So that was
I
part of
know.
it. Yeah.
I know.
So did her husband.
But
Yeah, exactly.
Mike retired as well.
But all my books of those are on a shelf in
Yeah,
home,
great.
and kids read them all the time.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
they're great. They're great.
Thank you, Karen. Mark?
Dolores, Patrick, Chris, I just want to personally thank you so much for everything that you do. You do an amazing job, and keep up the fantastic work.
Thank you.
Robert? Wonderful work. Every year we seem to have a whole new younger group of kids that are interested in, safety. And maybe you could just talk for a minute about how many actual entrants you actually get that the board can actually look at and actually come down to finalists, because it's usually a big number.
I actually wrote that down today, just in case. So this year we had, it was a little bit lower than usual, but it still we had 43 filmmakers at that evening, but we had approximately 40 submissions, over 80 students that participated. So it was a little bit a lower enrollment. We don't know if just because kids were, busy doing other things, but the quality, and we see the advancement of technology and creativity really there. But we're hoping to get those numbers back up. We have some ideas up our sleeve. We're hoping to get that back
Yeah,
up next year.
it's actually wonderful work. Thank you for educating the students, and hopefully we're educating parents as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dolores, Patrick, Chris, thank you. And I want to point out, Patrick, you've become a really good speaker. You were
Yes,
intimidated. And I have to tell you, I've been doing this a long time. When I go in front of elementary school kids, the most intimidating group of people. And you were a little intimidated, and you're doing an outstanding job. So thank you all. We're going to give you a big hand. Thank you for the work.
Thank you for our team.
Thank you for trying to protect our children and help guide them.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Excellent. All right, this will take us to our consent calendar tonight. Those are items number 9.1 through 9.7. They're considered routine, and they can all be acted on in one motion. However, if there's anybody who would like to pull an item, I do have speaker request cards for item 9.3. Is there anybody in the audience who'd like to pull any other item other than 9.3? Seeing none, does the council wish to pull anything?
Nope, I'll make a motion to approve
Robert.
9.1, 9.2, 9.4 to 9.7. And
On
with the,
9.7.
and the changes on 9.7.
It's been moved and seconded. We will now call the roll. Christine, would you please call the roll for us? Thank you.
Councilmember Balatz,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Stepper,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Storr,
Yes.
Mayor Arnerich.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. And now what we'll do is on 9.3, there is no formal presentation. This is the second reading of an ordinance that was passed at our last meeting. And by law, it has to have a second reading for it to become law in Danville. So I will just open up the public hearing on this, and I will take Harriet Neely first. And Harriet, welcome. If you have 3 minutes, so it goes green, yellow, red. If it gets to red, give us your last best thought in one sentence and state your name and address, and welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, council. My name is Harriet Neely. I live at 790 Everett Drive in Danville. Due to being close to Osage Park, I am very thankful that the council has decided to not allow large e-bikes in any of our parks. Over the past couple of years, we've had several instances of, I have to say, disrespect by some of the users of the bike by going rapidly by without any indication of passing, vulgar language to those of us who ask them to slow down, and flipping people off, etc. So the idea of having this passed is very, very comforting, especially to those of us who are older. And I look forward to seeing them where they're supposed to be, and also to following all the rules politely. I thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
you.
Our next speaker is Brian Hughes. Brian, welcome.
Hi there, I'm Brian Hughes. Lived in the town of Danville for 37 years. And I'm here tonight to talk about the e-bike situation. I realize what we got a lot of people here tonight talking about the pros and cons of the certain aspects of, whether we're going to have trails and so forth for e-bikes. I see everybody talking about the classifications for e-bikes and so forth. I see the direction this is going, and I think it's all good. But the problem with things like this is that when you start making regulations that are stipulated on horsepower, size of the bikes, all these other things, it makes everything very complicated. And it needs to stop. We need to go ahead and put a handle on all this stuff with these e-bikes. it needs to be enforced. And you can't ask our police department to be there, on the trails, at the parks and all the stuff, all the time doing this. So my thought on this thing is to go ahead and actually do an impoundment of these bikes. And this has got to be a rule that is for the Danville Little League. It's got to be for all the people using the park, for the people walking them. It doesn't matter what age they are, but you have to be firm about this stuff. And if you're not firm, nothing's going to happen. I mean, we can have all the rules, all the regulations we want to have, but if they're not enforced, the rules, regulations, procedures are absolutely useless. So my suggestion is that we need to have a very firm, strong penalty for this stuff. And we can't worry about being politically correct. And if we're going to be reelected in November, we have to go ahead and put our fist down and get this problem solved before more people get hurt, whether they're pedestrians, whether they are bicycle riders. As I mentioned here before, we can have police officers just for a short period of time when school gets let out, looking at the parks. We can have police officers at the high schools when they get out, and maybe on the weekends periodically, but it doesn't have to be an everyday situation because that costs a lot of money, and that's the other situation. But we need to put our fist down. This thing needs to be taken care of, and we can't worry about, upsetting somebody, whether they're at voting age or younger. So that's my personal, opinion on this. And I just hope everybody realizes, the seriousness of not, going after something and making sure it doesn't happen. So the only way to do that is to have a firm law on this. So thank you.
Thank you, Brian. And our next speaker is Chuck Prius. Chuck, welcome back.
Good evening. My name is Chuck Prius. I've been a resident here in Danville for 45 years, live at 25 Meadowlark Court, and have been a strong advocate of doing something about e-bikes for about 2 years now. And I really am impressed with the movement we've made. And one of the interesting things that I heard the other day was somebody had been in Texas. And Dateline, Danville, California. Somebody's doing something about e-bikes. I don't know if you heard about this or not, but as far away as Texas. And I compliment you, the mayor and the council members, for taking aggressive action. The end result yet to, I guess, be seen. And as Brian had just mentioned, I think one of the biggest issues is the enforcement aspect of it. We can have some nice rules, some nice regulations, ordinances, and all sorts of things, yet it is enforcement. And why is enforcement so important? Here's a headline from a couple days ago. Just paraphrasing: deaths, injuries tied to e-bikes on the rise. I don't care where it is, or in Walnut Creek, San Ramon. Mostly I'm concerned about Danville. I don't want to see that type of statistics that are on the rise. With school coming up, starting the 13th of August, my concern, and many of my neighbors and friends who frequent Osage Park, which is a high incident issue, kids going to school, it's going to be a terrifying event. And it shouldn't be. The education aspect is good, but these are kids. They're generally, I would say, as young as 10 and occasionally as old as maybe 13, 14. They're pretty young to have these dangerous vehicles in their possession and being utilized for transit. The ordinance that is being second reading. I'm anxious to hear finally how it comes out. But I'm very much encouraged by the fact that we can do one thing, and that it's the essence of it is pedestrian safety. And pedestrian safety is a major concern. I hope that more than anything, we're not looking at this after the fact when somebody has been seriously injured. I've heard it said frequently, it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when. I thank you for your time.
Thank you,
Look
Chuck.
forward to the solution.
Thank you. Is there anybody else in the room who would like to speak on this consent calendar item? Seeing none, we'll go to online. Is there anybody online who would like to speak on this consent calendar item 9.3? If so, please use the raise hand feature. And I see Stephen Mayfield. Stephen, we'll unmute you. And you please state your name and your address, and you have up to 3 minutes. And please note that you will hear audibly when it gets to the red light, and you can visually see online if you are looking online. There's a clock. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Mayfield. I live at 984 Podva Road, Danville. I agree with most of the other speakers. My big concern is enforcement. I think this is a fantastic step. But when you enter Osage Park, on either end, you'll see a couple of signs. The first rule says, all dogs must be on leash. This will be strictly enforced. It's not even remotely enforced. So my concern is, as the other speakers mentioned, how will this be enforced? Thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. We appreciate that. Is there anybody else online? At this time, I don't see any other raised hand features. So we will close the public hearing on item number 9.3, and it's back before the council.
Make
Renee?
a motion, we approve 9.3.
Actually, I just had a quick comment I wanted to make as well, if you don't mind. I wanted to kind of comment on a couple of the things that were made in reference to being that we are going to enforce this. From a standpoint of how we're going to enforce it, I think it's important for all of us to know that we now have a clear guideline. We have a clear direction of what the kids can and can't do. When children or adults are not given those guidelines and they're allowed to go through our parks, through the streets and all of that, and not have those clear guidelines, it makes it more difficult to police that per se without using that word. So now we have that, and we are able to say, you are doing something that is against the law. You can no longer do that. So I think for all of us, we need to give it a chance. We need to keep us posted. Let us know if it's not working, if you're seeing something that we're not seeing. You're our eyes as well. And it's important for us to know what's working and what's not. I personally go out there and I'll personally be doing the same thing. So believe me, as far as the comment about elections and all of this, I don't think any of us up here have ever done anything just because of the fact we want to get reelected. We're up here because we truly care about the town of Danville. We are here to represent the town of Danville. So remember that when you realize that every single one of us up here are here because we want Danville to be the safest community, not just in the state, but everywhere. And the other comment that was made that I'd like to clarify is Street Smarts now has revamped their program. They have revamped it to include the ordinance that we are about to approve this evening to make sure that the kids are aware of what the new guidelines are. So this is something that we continue to do in Danville, is to educate and to outreach. So know that, but also know that we're here. If you see things or hear things on the way out, you can grab our business cards, let us know what you're hearing, and we are more than happy to listen to you. That's how we got to where we are tonight, is to make sure that we're doing what our general residents want from all of us. So thank you so much for the comments. I appreciate it. At the same time, Danville is the safest city for a reason, and we're going to maintain it that way. And that's why we want to do it this way. So thank you.
Thank you, Renee. I would just add, this is the first of some changes that are being proposed. We'll be holding public hearings once school starts again. Our target is parents, and we'll be having robust discussions and inviting all of the parents to participate and looking at making some additional changes. The other good thing about this ordinance, it's black and white. You either get off your bike or you don't. If you don't, you can be cited for that. It's not about what kind of bike it is. If it's electric, anything, you can't ride it in the park. So from an enforcement point of view, this is a huge step forward. To anybody else? Karen? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, a couple. So I appreciated the comments that we had last meeting as well, that we were able to change this to represent something, as you were saying, Newell, that's simple enough for everybody to, we're hoping the enforcement will be helped by that. Wanted to thank you, Rob, for redoing this, and that the audience understands that there always is a second hearing on something like this, and that you made a difference in how the final came out, and Rob did a great job. And the last thing I have is August 4th is the National Night Out. And a lot of neighborhoods here are going to have a lot of people riding their bikes over to this, or they're going to walk in their immediate block to National Night Out. If you've signed up to be one of those homes to host out in the street, you will have an opportunity to help these people understand these new rules. So I hope you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Why don't we go to the vote? It's been moved and seconded, moved by Storr, seconded by Karen. Will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Balazs,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Stepper,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Storr,
Yes.
Mayor Arnerich.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously, and thank you all for your comments. And we look forward to seeing you coming up in August, late August, September. Thank you. All right, this will now take us to, we just have lots of highlights tonight. Under item 10, which is 10.1, our monthly report by our town manager, Ty Williams, which gives us an update on everything that's happening in Danville. Ty, welcome again.
Well, thank you, Mayor and members of the council. It's my pleasure, as always, to be here before you on a monthly basis to give you just a few highlights from this month's 30-page report. I promise I won't cover every single one of those pages. First and foremost, for those who might still be here, in anticipation of council's approval of the second reading of the bike ordinance update, staff has been putting together a coordinated, fairly vast public education campaign on what is going to be changed within our parks as it relates to e-bikes. Specifically, there is also going to be a posting of a lot of temporary signs so it catches people's eye. Our chief has already been in touch with our school district superintendent. We're conducting outreach to all of our middle school principals. The goal is to come together and put together a lot of content so that the schools can get this information out to our parent community well before the school year starts. The idea is to make sure that parents aren't going to solely rely on putting their children on e-scooters and e-bikes as a means of primary transportation through parks to their school destination. So that's the goal. And of course, last but not least, at the invitation of the school district, our police officers will be stationed at many of our middle school sites this year. And they have been invited. And for members of the public who might not be familiar, so bike corrals sit on school sites which belong to the school district, and we do not go there unless by invitation by the school district. And this year they have invited us to attend and to help both educate and enforce appropriate devices that are inside of the bike corral. So we're very encouraged by that. The second major kind of long arc effort that I'd like to update the council on is about the Diablo Road Trail. I don't want to take too much of Soren's thunder later, but I would say that contrary to what might appear on the surface, this is probably one of the most complex projects that the town has ever undertaken, primarily because of its location adjacent to a creek. And of course, all of the surrounding environmental constraints. Soren's going to be providing a more comprehensive update, but I do want to take this opportunity to recognize both his and Diane's extraordinary work in advancing this project despite what seems to be like an endless cascade of obstacle that keeps surfacing each and every single month. Let's see. Third, I do want to give the council an update on the Meet Me in Danville Economic Development Initiative that was introduced through your latest budget. The initiative that seeks to reposition our community facilities as professional meeting and small gathering destinations. Over the past month, the staff has completed really 3 major efforts that moves this initiative forward. The first is that Recreation completed a facilities analysis because they had to make room within the programming schedule so that we have blocks of time that we can advertise as available. So they did that. Our economic development staff reached out to the new management at our Danville Sycamore Inn. And to our tremendous pleasure and surprise, the new management is extremely enthusiastic in working with the town. In fact, they want to promote any and all of our facilities, and they would like to find ways of hosting events there. So we're very excited about that. And finally, we will be undertaking some facility touch-ups so that we can take some marketing photography, get some updated marketing materials, and we'll begin to kind of roll it out later this fall. We have to first wait until all of the summer programs are done because, our facilities kind of take a little beating during the summer from all of our wonderful programs. But, there are a lot of folks kind of in our facilities. Now, across the rest of the organization, June was equally active. I think you know that finance is now undertaking a very labor-intensive work period of transitioning fiscal year. So they're basically hosting and holding 2 fiscal years worth of books open, rapidly trying to close out the last fiscal year while opening up a new fiscal year. Our IT staff has made this building their second home for the last month, as they dialed in all of the technology that's necessary to introduce this new hybrid meeting format. Our development services department has delivered another remarkable month across the board. As you know, engineering and transportation are advancing a lot of capital projects. Planning is processing a number of complex private development applications, and our building division continues to sustain a 99% on-time plan review rate. So that's pretty extraordinary by any measurement. Our maintenance team completed a number of very visible improvements. The new LED sports field lighting at Diablo Vista Park is one of them, made possible by a donation from the Sports Alliance. And of course, a resurfacing of the pickleball and tennis courts at Osage, all the while responding to 1,400 service requests from our community. So they juggle quite a bit in a short period of time. Our police services department continue to be very steady in our community. I don't get to talk about the July 4th parade yet because, this is a report about the month of June. Our recreation staff, though, I want to give them a huge shout out because they just launched fully into summer mode, training over 125 new staff folks for the summer programming and hosting everything from every corner of the town, from Coachella to movie night to music on the town green. And of course, our community engagement team has been reaching new heights. I think you might know that our social media platforms are generating almost 900 views for a lot of our videos recently. So with that, I'll just conclude my very brief presentation and happy to answer any questions the town council might have.
Ty, thank you. I would just note that I saw they were doing, the entire team, police department, all the staff are doing a debrief today on the parade. It's been great to hear that. Any comments or questions? Mark?
I have one. Ty, thanks so much. Another great report. I was just looking at the Front Street slide repair appeal, which is still being appealed.
That's correct.
Is there any news at all on that, or it's just wait and see?
It is wait and see, and not to dampen the mood, but one of the things that we're told is that when it comes to FEMA and these kinds of awards and grants, it's easy to award them, but there is a long and extended protracted process of kind of deliberation and whether or not there would be a clawback or an appeal on various applications. So it is one of the reasons why the town maintains such a healthy reserve, is because while we think we might get grants from FEMA and Cal OES, but many times we actually don't.
All right, thanks so much.
Ty, thank you. If I may just take a moment, I want to introduce somebody here who's sitting in the front row. This is John Hartman. And we all knew the late Stacy Hartman, who used to work for the town of Danville. She did sort of the beginning of our business promotion, our kind of public information as way back when. Sadly, she passed away back in 2009 from ovarian cancer and became a national spokesperson in changing the standards. And sadly, John's and Stacy's twin daughters, one of those passed away 5 years ago from ovarian cancer as well. But John, we just want to say welcome. It's great to see you back. I know you've had some health issues yourself, but welcome back. Well done. I'll give you a thank you. He did note when I saw him come in, he goes, well, yeah, it's a little different. Yeah, a little more technology forward. Well, now we, as Ty mentioned, we're really delighted to have Soren, who is our Director of Transportation, who's been working on the Diablo Trail project. And what's really unique about this, it's taken almost 30 years for the town to acquire the property. And then we, just like developers, anybody who's proposing a project, we have to go through all the environmental standards. And boy, did we get hit hard from California Fish and Game and other agencies. But what is unique about this project, and Soren's going to go through the constructability and what it's going to look like. Bottom line is, you do not have to, from the intersection of Green Valley and Diablo, all the way through what you'd consider town to Danville, past the cutoff to go up to Mount Diablo. You do not have to have bikes or pedestrians once this is built. They're totally, the ability is to get all of them off-road. So it's an extraordinary project, and it's taken an incredible amount of time. So Soren, welcome, and we're looking forward to the update.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Pleasure to be here tonight to talk to you about this exciting project. I think we'll just go right into the first slide here. Well, you identified everything very well, Mayor. This is just a slide that you folks have probably seen before. Just the basic layout of the trail alignment. 9/10 of a mile is the current project underway to be constructed to connect that developer constructed trail to the west to the Barbara Hale Trail to the west, and with the developer constructed trail to the east, pardon me. And then with your approval tonight for the Hawk signal, that'll be the addition coming later this fall, around the same time that the project is being completed to complete the crossing of Diablo Road. So we just wanted to share with you a project overview. This is probably a slide that you've seen before as well. Just go over the purpose, some of the challenges and opportunity here. The purpose of the project is to enhance connectivity and improve outdoor access by closing that gap that we just talked about and the mayor mentioned, all the way from the Barbara Hale Trail to Mount Diablo State Park. There were and certainly remain significant challenges associated with this trail segment due to the proximity to the creek, the hilly terrain, and access across private land that contain a number of existing utilities. And we'll, again, we'll focus on some of those remaining challenges in just a moment. The opportunity for the trail project was made possible by the town's approval of the McGee Preserve project, which preserved more than 381 acres out of the 410 acre site for open space trails, and importantly provided a new public easement for the project itself. So back to those challenges that remain and have entered the project's critical path to completion. We have several of these and we'll dig into a little more detail on each one. First, the town was required to obtain a stream bed alteration permit from the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. And that permit does have many restrictions, including limited times for removing trees and working in the creek itself. The town has had to deal with PG&E underground utility lines on an alignment that PG&E would actually not provide us until after the project had started. There were also some data discrepancies associated with the original topographic data on the project. AT&T, PG&E, and other utilities have anchored guy wires on poles in the trail area, some of which were actually placed after the project was fully designed, and I think at one or two locations after the project was awarded. The soldier pile wall construction within the creek area naturally presents many challenges. And then finally, there's more of a minor issue with the guardrail adjacent to Diablo Road that is in conflict with an existing PG&E gas line. And we'll dig a little deeper into each of these items. So under the CDFW permit restrictions related to nesting birds, the town did experience multiple delays for tree removals based on the biologist's observations of active nests. Typically, each one of these observations resulted in 2 or more weeks of delay until the young birds in each of those nests was able to fledge. Staff ultimately had to go through the process to obtain an amendment with the CDFW to allow for the removal of several impacted trees in a period of time that is normally reserved for bat roosting, and that began like April 15th. This in spite of the fact that no bats were ever seen in the area over the course of the observations, and the trees themselves did not provide a particularly good bat habitat. The good news now is that all the nesting bird and mammal issues were resolved, and all the remaining trees to this point have been successfully removed and are no longer in the way for the contractor to move forward. The CDFW permit does require an on-site biologist to monitor activity throughout the construction period in the creek, and those folks are out there on a regular basis. The next item on the overall critical path that's a challenge is PG&E's underground power lines and gas lines. So PG&E does have an extensive run of more than 2,500 feet of underground power lines and vaults that run kind of parallel with and kind of in a meandering fashion of the trail footprint. My understanding from the design team was that PG&E refused to properly locate these lines until we were actually into the construction phase of the project. After PG&E finally did provide this horizontal alignment for us, and the contractor was able to get out and pothole the lines to determine the actual depth, a complete redesign was basically necessary in order to accommodate those lines and ensure a minimum 2-foot clearance to the trail subgrade. That redesign, along with a problem related to the original topographic data that was on a county datum, did result in extensive delays. The good news now is that redesign is fully completed as of a few weeks ago, and the contractor has resumed grading activities in that area. And then the last item there is the guardrail, which again is in conflict with a PG&E gas line. This is towards the west end of the project. Staff is working with a design engineer to resolve that issue, and we do expect that that'll be accomplished within the next few weeks. As we mentioned, there are also PG&E and AT&T guy wires and anchors in a few critical locations. Most of these wires have actually little or no tension in them as we observe them in the field. And Again, some were actually added after the project design was completed and let out to bid. Staff's initial request with PG&E was to simply remove the guy wires and anchors on a temporary basis so that the work could be done, then have those placed again later. Unfortunately, PG&E's position was that that approach would not meet their applicable standards. So after many months of coordination and extensive outreach from all levels of the town organization, we are pleased to confirm that PG&E has set a construction date of July 22nd to basically remove and replace the existing poles out there. And that'll result in elimination of the existing guide wires and anchors and clear the path for the contractor to complete the work. So staff would just like to pass along a special note of thanks to you, Mayor, and to Town Manager Williams for all of your efforts to ensure that PG&E understood at its upper levels the town's needs for the project. Because frankly, without that effort, I don't think we'd have this date in place. So thank you very much.
All right, Soren, thank you. Questions or anything? Oh, I'm sorry. You made a pause?
I did.
That is a speaker error.
Pause too long.
Okay.
We just wanted to remark on your all of your efforts to make that happen. Thank you. Finally, the Creekside critical path challenges, we just wanted to cover those quickly. Obviously, there are complex fish and wildlife permitting requirements here. This includes a window on the calendar from June 15th to October 15th to complete all of the soldier pile wall construction and all other work in the creek that is below the top of bank, kind of up to the trail subgrade. Right now, there are 71 working days remaining for the work to be completed in the creek area. That does not include the paving, guardrail, handrails, and other project elements that are above the top of the bank in the creek. That work is not subject to the CDFW permit. Concrete work below the top of the bank is limited to a September 15th date, but we do have the ability to extend that with CDFW if necessary. And again, the PG&E pole replacements are scheduled for July 22nd. We just heard from them today that is potentially going to be night work on the previous night, so beginning July 21st. And of course, we want to remind folks that Diablo Road will be subject to traffic controls that will cause delays throughout the construction period adjacent to the creek. We'll of course minimize that to the extent possible, but some delays during the working hours are just going to be unavoidable, and we'll keep the community notified constantly with that information. So that does conclude our presentation. Thank you very much. I know City Attorney Ewing has an additional comment or two, but happy to answer any questions you have after that.
Great, thank you. Rob?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add that we have a great internal staff team working on this. We have a really good outside project manager working on this. And so we're all working together, tracking everything in terms of where we are with construction schedules and other stuff in the contract to try and keep this within the very difficult timelines that Soren and his group have to work with.
Great. I would just like to add to thank Ty and both Diane because it's been a group effort on these other related agencies, our utilities and stuff, and just a tremendous effort. Comment, question, Renee?
Thank you so much for the presentation. It's always great to hear what's going on. Now, you talked about the trail itself, and I know that with the retaining walls or soldier pile walls and all of that, that it's going to kind of go into some of the size of the width of the trail. So the trail itself is set to be about what, 8 to 10 feet?
The paved section of the trail will be 8 feet, and there will be like a 2-foot buffer on each side.
Okay, gravel buffers, right?
Yeah,
Gravel
the aggregate base for the structural section
right
of the trail will come all the way up to pavement level. So you'll have 2 feet on either side, and then 8 feet in the middle, so a total of 12 feet for that footprint.
So but just, I mean, like we said, 30 years in the making, we didn't have e-bikes then. Let's not bring e-bikes back into this again, but let me ask you, what's the possibility, or is there a possibility of striping that path, or will it be striped to separate egress and regress traffic?
Striping is not part of the project as planned now. We could evaluate that and as a safety feature to add on, not currently included, but certainly can be considered.
Just a thought, because we were looking at that with Iron Horse Trail, although that is obviously it's substantially wider. It might be something just to take a look at. But thank you so much for all the work. And I know with all the birds and everything else, it's been quite the delay, but for 30 years and now we're finally here and it's not that bad. Thank you.
Thank you. And Soren, thank you very much. Sorry, Karen.
The question that I have, Soren, has to do with the notification of the schools, since I didn't realize it's only a month away till school starts on August 13th. So I'm rounding. But I'm hoping that those things get out to them also through our bus system, our traffic system, to make sure that they know that there could be some delays where their students are trying to get to school. I know you're going to notify the schools as well. So I just see that as a really critical part, because I know how much this is going to jam up that area. I remember before when it starts getting heavy and they have to go through too many lights at Green Valley, it's very difficult. So thank you for all you've done, and welcome to Danville now that you're really in charge of all these projects. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you again, Soren. All right. This will now take us to public hearings, item 11.1. And this is to consider introduction of ordinance number 2026-03, amending sections 215.1 and 216.1 of the Danville Municipal Code to allow for appointments of alternates to the Senior Advisory and Bicycle Advisory Commissions. And we'll have Rob Ewing, our city attorney, take the lead.
Thank you, Mayor and members of the council. That's a pretty good summary of exactly what the ordinance says. Since both of these commissions are our two newest commissions, and I was involved in the draft of those ordinances, I will take responsibility for not including the ability to appoint alternates at that time. So it's basically sort of a cleanup. It would allow you to appoint alternates. It will not require you to appoint alternates if you don't have folks who you'd like to fill, but it gives that flexibility. And that's our recommendation, is that you introduce the ordinance tonight, and we would bring it back to you at your July 21st meeting for adoption.
So that would mean if we approve this, it would become effective approximately September 20.
It'd be August 21. So yeah, so that's a good point. If in fact, on your next item of appointing commissioners, if you wanted to appoint an alternate to either of these commissions, you could do so. They just wouldn't be able to be sworn in until after August 21.
Great, thank you. Any questions at this time of Rob? Seeing none, is there, we'll go first to open up the public hearing. Is there anybody in the audience that's physically here tonight like to make any public comments on this item? Seeing none, I will see, is there anybody online who would like to make public comments on item number 11.1? If so, please use your raise hand feature and we'll call on you. I do not see any. Amanda, do you see any? Okay, we will close the public hearing on this item, bring it back to the council. Is there an action? Please.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve ordinance 2026-03, amending section 2-15.1 and 2-16.1 of the Danville Municipal Code to allow for appointment of alternates to the Senior Advisory and Bicycle Advisory Commissions.
Second.
Great, thank you. It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, Christine, will you please call the roll? She's a little more in my view, so.
Councilmember Balatz.
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan.
Yes.
Councilmember Stepper.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Storr.
Yes.
Mayor Arnerich.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. And this will take us to our item number 12, and this is a series from 12.1 all the way down to 12.7. These are appointments, and these are based on interviews that the council has conducted over the past 6 weeks. And they involved advertising for a variety of positions on our advisory commissions. The first one tonight under 12.1 is to appoint members to the Bicycle Commission. And I am the liaison, so I will make the recommendation to appoint Ryan Ozimek, Angela Wang, and Tim White. And the future alternate would be Ryan, and I'm going to spell his last name. It's Rontiullas. And with that, is there any other nominations? Seeing none. Christine, would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember,
I apologize. I did, no, you don't need a second on nominations. I made a mistake. We have an addition, the alternate, as I said, but we also have a student to fill, which is Braden Peck. Sorry. All right, with that, is there any other nominations? Seeing none, if you'll call the roll.
Okay. Separate.
We can do them all unless somebody disagrees. We can do them all at once. It's all for the same commission.
okay. Councilmember Balatz,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Stepper,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Storr,
Yes.
Mayor Arnerich.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. This will take us down to item 12.3 and appoint members to the Parks, Recreation, and Arts Commission for 4-year terms beginning July 1st, 2026. And the liaison is Vice Mayor Robert Storr. Robert?
Yes, we had a very strong group of applicants, 10 applicants to be exact, and we reappointed Joe Lindsay. We reappointed Bill Pratt from an alternate to a commissioner, Carol Muscali, Carl Table, and the alternate is Wade Luckhart.
Are there any further nominations? Seeing none, Christine, would you call the roll, please?
Okay, Councilmember Balatz,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Stepper, Vice Mayor Storr.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I didn't have it down.
Vice Mayor Storr,
Yes.
Mayor Arnerich.
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, everybody. All right, this will now take us to 12.4, which is to appoint a member to the Senior Advisory Commission for a 1-year term beginning July 1st, 2026. And this will go to Councilmember Renee Morgan, who is the liaison to that commission.
Once again, we had some wonderful applicants. It's always difficult to choose, but we did choose Joel Golub.
Are there any further nominations? Seeing none, Christine, will you please call the roll?
Okay, Councilmember Balatz,
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan,
Yes.
Councilmember Stepper,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Storr,
Yes.
Mayor Arnerich.
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries unanimously. This will now take us to item number 12.5, 2 and 3, which is to appoint a Danville representative to the county. Oh, no, I'm sorry. This is to 12.5 to appoint Danville representatives to the Contra Costa County Library Commission for 2-year terms beginning July 1st, 2026, appointing a regular member and appointing 1 alternate member. And Councilmember Karen Stepper will make that nomination.
All right. Excited to nominate the people who have been serving there because they have given us an amazing information from this, from all the libraries. So Nicole Jimmer as the regular and the alternate to be Robert Sanguidolci.
Great, thank you. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, I will just add a comment too. They were probably the 2 best that we've seen in 3 decades, that they are actively involved. The alternate is also heading up with one other city, a county-wide nonprofit funding to help support libraries, and they've already raised over $100,000. So really well done. Christine, will you please call the roll?
Okay, Councilmember Balazs.
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan.
Yes.
Councilmember Stepper.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Store.
Yes.
Mayor Arnerich.
Yes. Thank you, everybody. Motion carries unanimously. This will take us to 12.61 to appoint a representative to the County Connection Board. And we will have Vice Mayor Robert Store, who sits on the County Connection Board.
I appreciate that. And I really appreciate that Michael Carr has graciously accepted to continue for at least 6 months until the fall. And we are going to continue with Michael Carr, who's doing a great job on that board.
And just to clarify, technically, we're appointing for 2 years. It's a 2-year appointment, but he has indicated that at our fall recruitment, that if we would re-advertise and if we find somebody who will step up, he would more than glad step down on that to allow some other people to join in. Seeing no other nominations, Christine, will you please call the roll?
Councilmember Balazs.
Yes.
Councilmember Morgan. Councilmember Stepper.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Store.
Yes.
Mayor Arnerich.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. And that is also unanimous. And appreciate those listening in the audience here. It does take a little longer because of the process that we have to go through. So but it's working. So thank you. This takes us to our last item on tonight's agenda, which is 12.8 under town council updates.
12.7.
That
County
was,
Connection Board Member Report.
oh,
No.
Don't want to miss that.
yeah. All right, let's have a county connection. And by the way, some of us, let's be careful on your statistics because we may.
Oh, no. This is,
Thank
fact
you.
checked everything here. So County Connection is got a budget of about $62 million, $59 million in operating and about 3.2 in capital. We have a total reserves of about $47 million. We believe we're going to probably draw that down a little bit in fiscal year 2027 to about 38 million. We have unfunded liabilities paid up to 89.7%. We were 91 last year, which is a big number, and we are about $14 million in unfunded liability. We've actually put a set-aside account together, seeded it with $1 million, and those accounts grow that just in case PERS doesn't hit their 7.2%, we have some money to use. I always hear that nobody rides the buses in Danville, but I can tell you that 225,000 people a month ride the buses someplace else, maybe not through Danville.
Yes, I've been on all of those routes through here, and I have numbers that I can count on one hand.
I will also add that the Youth Ride Free program
Yes, that's good to know.
25,000, big deal. The first year it started, we had 1,600 or so students. Last year, we had 25,000. We're on pace to probably get just about 26 to 20, almost 27,000 youth.
Great program, really well done. All right, now it goes to 12.8. Is there any additional council updates? Seeing none.
4th of July parade was amazing.
That's true, it was, and we look forward to hearing the debrief. It was one of the largest crowds we've seen in many years. With that, we are going to adjourn this meeting, and a huge thank you to our IT staff, our acting city clerk, Christine Myberg, Amanda Levine. Thank you for this. This was our first under these circumstances, and it worked perfectly. This meeting is adjourned.
Well done.